Welcome to another episode of Flipping the Script with Joy and Becky.
Surprise episode. I'm sharing it now, so give me just 1 second.
My God, I spilled my coffee. I'm such a dork. Hold on. People, I'm a big old dork. Oh, well. Okay, hi. How's it
Hi.
going?
All right, let me copy the link and
No problem. While she gets her shit together, we're just going to chill. No one's here anyway, so. Hi. I'm light and sage for us all, so I can clear out any negativity. The vibes are high today. We're at like a KP index 7, I think. I don't know. She's frozen. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, there I am.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. Okay. Oh, look, I'm wearing a dress.
Lovey, welcome back.
I know. It is 80 degrees today, so it went from 26 at the beginning of the week to 80 degrees now. So I am out here and I'm enjoying the nice. I can't talk today. The nice warmth.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we definitely didn't plan this today because I have no makeup on or anything. So thank goodness for big sunglasses and hats, right?
Yep. I'm telling you, dude. If I want to hide more, my glasses on.
Yep. So, all right. Well, let's get into it. And if anybody joins, then cool. If not, then we can share it around and people can listen to us later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about your experience, and then we're going to talk about a couple other things that I've been working on for humanity, and then we'll talk about whatever,
Yeah. So, all right. So yesterday, Rick Jewers posted on his Facebook that he had a little bit of time to talk to anybody and give guidance. So as soon as I saw that, I sent a message, and it was, I think, within a minute of him posting that I sent the message. And then it was about an hour later that he got back to me, and so we got to have a little one-on-one with him and Femke and me, or 2-on-1, I guess. And just a little powwow, a little talk about certain things, that I've been going through and clearing some dense energies in the last week. I've been really delving in deep, and I've talked about before, part of my work includes going into dark spaces and shining my light on them. And that includes, places like the Georgia Guidestones before they fell. That's one thing that he confirmed for me, that I played a very large role in that, if not all of the role in that, which I was like, I got chills, and I'm getting chills right now saying that. But he was like, yeah, no, that's the confirmation that he got, is that, I either played a huge part in that, or that I played all the part in that. Energetically, I'm not responsible for what happened to them. I'm not claiming anything like that. I didn't vandalize them. I wasn't there. I went there 9 months beforehand. I put Lemurian crystals all around. I did a sacred ceremony, so I was not physically a part of anything happening, but energetically taking down the any kind of negative energy that was associated with it. That was my role in it. I was led there by spirit, by my guides. I had a lot of interference coming, a lot of people pushing me to not go, a lot of negative energy not wanting me to be there. But I did get confirmation from him that was a successful part that I played. So I'm extremely grateful for that, to have been a part of that, energetically clearing that area and stuff. So that was like, wow, like I had no idea when I was going there, why I was going there, why I felt so compelled to go there, what I was even doing there. It was, I think it was in I'd say 2021, September 2021, that I went there on the equinox. So I just felt called that day to go there. Originally set it up to where I was going to have a bunch of people come and meet me, and then it turned into I didn't want anyone to come. I was being led that it was just meant for me to go there that day. It wasn't about a meditation, it was about clearing. And so I did what I need to do when I went, and I cleared the ground, cleared the negative energy that was brought with those words that were on those. Anybody that doesn't know about them, go look into them. A lot of people have their own feelings about them. I have my feelings about them, and so you might have felt like there was something innocent there, or there was nothing wrong there. Everybody has their own feelings on it. For me, I was led there for a reason. I can't confirm why. I can't confirm what had happened there before me. I don't know. I just know that I'm led to these places in the darkness to clear these things. So, in the last week, another place, and I'm not going to bring that up right now, but another place, I'm going to not bring up the name, but another place came up, and I did not physically go there this time, but I had been there in the past, and so I had a picture of it pop up, and I connected with that picture, and I did an energetic clearing at that location last week. And so in clearing that energy, um, I he mentioned a couple of things. When I'm doing my energetic work, he said, do not use protection, because when I'm asking for protection, when I'm doing my energetic clearing, I'm basically giving into fear and stating that I'm not powerful by needing protection, that something's able to attack me. So to go in full blast, shine my light completely and unhindered, because really, and I've shared this before, that I am powerful enough that anything out there should be looking for protection from me if it's in the darkness. So I have no fear when it comes to that. And so that's one thing he reminded me of, is to go in when I'm doing this energetic clearings, the one thing he said is the clearing part is pretty much complete. We're at the point now where we're bringing in the love. And so that takes a lot of the pressure off as well. Um, and so it kind of reminds me that my job now is just to bring in that love. So maybe me going to that past location in the last 7 years, was when the clearing began, and me taking it in, I don't want to say inhaling, but me ingesting these energies. And then it took that amount of time to transmute it. And then it comes back up into my Facebook posts or Facebook memories, and the picture comes up. So what I did is I spun that picture into my artwork. I healed those energies, anything that was left over, and then released it last night. I did a little ceremony. Yesterday was the Heavens Cross. We've got the energies of the new moon, the spring equinox, and Heaven's Cross. So anybody that doesn't know what that is, I was just looking into it yesterday. So it's like the portals to the heavens and other dimensions are open right now, and so that's, the veil is thinner. We're able to do a lot of this, bouncing from dimension to dimension right now. And last night I actually found myself in the third dimension, and I was like, what am I doing here? Why am I seeing the same cycle? We talked about that a little bit last night, in regards to addiction and family members with addiction. So that was coming up with a cycle. And I said to myself, this seems very third dimensional. So why am I here? Well, the reason that I go down to the third dimension is to raise it back up. And that was another thing that that Rick Jewers talked to me about, was raising our Earth Star chakra to between our knees. So that's something that we need to do, is to get out of the linear time and to bring up that Earth Star chakra to a higher state of being. And then for me, that's also bringing up the 3D to the 5D. So I'm taking Gaia with me and taking her higher. So let's see, was there anything else?
I can add real quick that one of the important things that is happening right now is that Pluto is entering into Aquarius, and Pluto's cycle around the sun is 248 years. It's completing a cycle. And this is generational changes. And the last time we had any kind of shift with Pluto was in 2008. And that's, I believe they were talking about the financial stuff starting to go downhill back then. And so look into that too, because that is a whole new, it's a whole new beginning, you guys. It literally clears out everything that's been crumbling, everything that it's like an earthquake, like it loosens you up, right? You're all loosened up. Now we get to sweep it out. Pluto's coming in to clean house and allow for that new beginning to come in for us. And it's generational. I mean, it is monumental. So it's not like, regular, it's not a regular shift. I'm just letting people know that it will bring to light everything that needs to be brought to light, that needs to be gone. It's be gone. There's no holding on to anything that doesn't resonate anymore. If it's not on your level, like you said, shine bright, don't dim your light, like Rick said, and that makes a lot of sense to me, because I don't usually do that either. Like, I stopped. For like a couple years, I was really into like making sure I do protection and bubbles and all that, but I stopped for some reason. And that makes a lot of sense. Even with my kids at night, when I tuck them in, I had this little ritual I would do, and I still do, if I'm called to. But yeah, I haven't been called to do that, so that really resonates with me. Because
Yeah,
now,
he
like,
said to move away from the dark crystals, to move away from the obsidian, to get more into amethyst, aquamarine, orange carnelian, chrysocolla. I think he said that Christ, whatever that one, the one that sounds like Christ. That's a good one. And then the clear quartz are good ones to start
angel
focusing
light,
on. And then
like
especially rose quartz. He said that if that resonates, that rose quartz is a great way, because that's the transmitter for love. That's transmitting and amplifying our heart. And our love. And so today I had an experience with the lady at the shop. She's filling in because the shop that I've been selling my products in, she's a new person that's working there. She's filling in for a couple of the regulars. And I was just talking to her, and I'm just being my genuine self, and she just bursts into tears, and she says, "I just feel a peace about you, like a healing, like peaceful vibe. Like you've just so much love and so much peace that it just brought her to tears." And I said, and I gave her a big hug, and I said, you know what? Maybe something in me is, because my intention is always to heal, it's always to help, and to always, bring that love. And so I'm radiating that out with anybody that's in my energetic field. And so she could literally feel that. And so I'm seeing that, and I've had that response before, where people come near me and then they just burst into tears of joy. And I love that feeling, because it's like I'm healing something that's going on with them. Um, just by radiating. It's like the Reiki just activates itself, like I don't really need. And then I saw a name pop up there. Hi, I think it was Jay from Cape Town.
okay,
Yep. Welcome. We're glad you're here. I've got a little friend hanging out too. I don't know if you can see her or him. It's a little, we've got carpenter bees. They're like these big black bees. I've got a couple of them. Oh, wants to come on the camera. Can you see it?
yeah. Hi,
They just hang out.
I can look. Yeah,
Uh,
those things that are in the back, we get a lot of them. They try to come in my house, though it makes me feel really uncomfortable. So
oh,
I
they
locked him in the
she doesn't
bathroom, and
want to hurt them, so they're pretty friendly.
yeah,
I like them because they keep the other bugs away. They kind of come in like a bomber, and then get the other ones away. Anyway, that's kind of off topic. Squirrel. That's the
same
way I
here.
am. I know.
Same.
I see something and I go in that direction. So, and nature is always calling me. Nature is always such a part of me. But anyway, getting back to So what we need to do is focus on bringing up that Earth Star chakra, um, shining our light, bright light. And really, the white light is the protection. We don't need to bring in the darkness to protect ourselves anymore. We don't need to bring in the dark light or the dark crystals, not dark light, the dark crystals to clear anymore. What we want to do now is reflect, because the if you think about it, black. I'm wearing a black top right now, and it's absorbing all of the heat from the sun. So that's what the dark crystals are doing. It's absorbing that, and then we have to clear. Well, what does white do? White repels. White reflects, right? If you have a white vehicle, it's cooler than a black or a dark colored vehicle, because it's reflecting the heat and reflecting the sunlight. So it's it's a one step process with the clear quartz, or with the white light, because you're automatically forming protection. You don't need to protect and then clear, protect and then clear, because that's double work, with the dark and then clearing, the dark and then clearing. So I took down my because I have a little shungite and obsidian grid. I took that down and I replaced it with the crystals um that he informed me about. I do need to get some aquamarine. I thought I had it, but it turned out that it was
I know either.
oh gosh, it's got smoky quartz amazonite. Yeah, I have amazonite with smoky quartz, but he said that was fine. He was getting that crystal was fine, even though it had the smoky quartz in it. That the amazonite was enough. So
That
um
is.
but he said to get more into bringing in the throat. That's what started the conversation, is because I've been having a throat infection um that I'm healing from. And so he said to bring in more of the aqua color, the aquamarine colors, the light blue, because, and then all of a sudden I just bursted out, I am the voice of truth. And that's the message that I've gotten for a long time, is that we've been, as the divine feminine, we are the voice of truth. We have been, and I always forget this word, we've been suppressed. Our voice of truth has been suppressed by the programming, by the you know society, by everything. And so um opening our throat chakras, we're doing a lot of upgrades with the throat chakras right now. And that each time we get this clearing, this, whether it's a throat infection or just a tickle in the throat or something going on with the throat, we're upgrading. Our throats are upgrading because our voices are going to come into a higher frequency and a higher resonance. Not
Dude,
that
I
they're going to sound high
can
pitched, but that they're going to be more full of
sing.
vibration that is able to hear, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can sing better. Like I was starting to tone and do like hummings and stuff, like getting my light language coming in. Like I have light language like through my energy, but verbally it's starting to come in. So for the some of us are being called to like sing a lot. Like
Mhm.
when I'm listening to my music, I'm always singing. And so I'm being called to like tune, it's being attuned. And
Yeah.
my is a very activating.
Mhm.
And that's why it's always been very, very important for me to set intentions and have a positive purity in my intention, because it comes out of my voice and it can cause harm if I'm not attuned, if I'm not, setting intentions. My voice can cause harm. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I have to make sure that I'm setting my intentions to be as pure, honest, kind, gentle, um, and remind myself that that's what I need around me in my physical world too. I need gentleness, kindness, love, appreciation, validation, because that's all coming out of me. And if that's not what I'm surrounding myself with, then that's not what's going to come out. And so this is very important. And that's why Pluto's also coming in to help shift things that are just not meant to be and allow for the new stuff to come in, because there's a lot of new stuff coming in right now.
Mhm.
And it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Thank-
thing, is that um like, for instance, last night I said that I was dealing with a family member with possible addiction, worries, me worrying about this person having a relapse or having, you know, being untruthful with me. And so I realized when I was going through that cycle that it was a cycle, and that was me in an old, that was bringing me back to a lower timeline. And so I can stay there and stay in that fear and that worry and draw myself into that timeline, or I can continue to do what I'm doing and transmuting and living my life for me, being my authentic self, and I can rise myself and everyone around me into a higher timeline. And so the possibility of that person having that addiction issue and that relapse and everything, it it may still play out in a different timeline, but it doesn't have to play out in the timeline that I choose to be in. So I'm choosing to align with a higher timeline so that the people around me are in a higher vibration as well. If that makes any sense. Does that make sense? Okay.
Absolutely. It makes absolute sense because that's same here. Like, I'm trying not to engage and have attachments to that because then I am attached to that timeline and that has to do, and so I'm trying not to do that. I want to be open for what the universe has for me and
Mhm.
not necessarily like, I was just listening to a reading and I literally listened to it 3 times. It was for the divine feminine. And it's for those of us that have been like in training for the past few years. Like, and so it was really, it really resonated with me. But yeah, it's really divine timing is everything in my life. It always has been. There's so many 11s, so many 7s in my life. Like my sister's 11 years old. I'm 11 years old. Her husband's 11 years older than her, and then just my first relationship, like I've just had 11-year cycles. And so it is what it is, but also the 77s. I was born in 77. My dad was 77 when he passed, and my mom was also 77 when she passed. I mean, there's no coincidences. 22 on the clock right now. There's no coincidences whatsoever. It's
I know, I
always
can't see it. It's too bright out here for me to see the phone. So I'm literally hoping that, I don't have anything weird on my face because I can't see it. It's
fine.
okay.
You're perfect. Don't worry.
Okay.
Perfect. But yeah, it's like just these energies are coming in to help us shift, and divine is all, and that's how divine works. Divine uses this everything to work for the good, just as the bad can work for everything towards negative. Well, obviously the divine is for the positive, and so we need to just focus on that part because that's what's happening. We're shifting shifting we're shifting for the
Hey,
positive.
shift happens, right?
It does happen.
I
So
love
yeah,
that. Well, if you think about that phrase just in itself, you're changing the intention behind
mhm.
a shifty phrase, if you know what I'm saying. So you're changing the intention, and so it's a double entendre, right?
Yeah,
It
it
works. It works in two different ways. Not only are you expressing it, but you're also changing it at the same time. So shift happens, and
is.
this morning we got a fog advisory, um, like a fog warning until 10 a.m. And I didn't see any fog, but whenever I see fog or I'm driving through fog or I'm experiencing fog, for me, that's moving through dimensions. Sometimes when I'm laying in bed, I will feel like the bed vibrating. I will feel like there's an earthquake happening outside. And that to me is like feeling like I'm shifting through dimensions. It's an actual physical feeling of going through these things. So yeah, I can't. You look like you're shaking your head. I can't really tell.
I'm laughing because somebody just brought in some really awesome energy and I can feel it. That's why I'm laughing. Yeah, that's why
Okay.
I could feel it. Anyways, I'm gonna light some sage.
Well, don't clear it. Don't keep it. Keep the good stuff.
Yeah, well, sage is keeping the good stuff in. It's because I love it so much. I love it so much.
For me, I like Palo Santo a lot. Well, I use sage and Palo Santo because there's two different. The sage clears all the energy, and then you set a new intention, and then the Palo Santo clears the negative energy, and then you can keep that, whatever the positive is, or set a new intention. But whenever I'm burning, I'm smudging, whatever, whether it's lavender or whatever, I always remember that it's about clearing away and then setting a new intention. So we don't want to just empty ourselves and then leave ourselves open. We want to make sure that we're setting whatever intention it is that we want. When I light incense, a lot of the incenses have their own name for their own intention, but I put my own on it. It's like I have one that's for aphrodisiac, but I just like the way that it smells, and I'm not always in the mood. My husband's not home 24 hours a day, so and he doesn't really like a lot of the stuff that I burn. So especially this age, it's so funny. My dog will start sneezing too. My dog will start sneezing. My daughter will start going, "Oh, I hate that." And my husband will calling him dad. That's funny. It's really weird. Anyway,
Don't bring your bedroom language in.
I know. No, 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 no. Not like that. Um, wow.
You're married, why wouldn't you?
You're funny. Talking about aphrodisiac and then calling my husband my dad.
Oh,
No, that's a little weird.
hey, look at.
We're in a funny mood today. I can't see it. Let me see. A love. Okay.
There you go.
We're all about the love today. Let's change it from we'll put it in the love vibration. So speaking of that, the honeybee, or they're not honeybees, the carpenter bees are going at it. They're fighting with each other. It's funny because I have this one that likes to hang around, and then he fights off all the other ones. He does. He's like, "This is my woman. I'm gonna her fruit spray. Nobody else is allowed next to this." So that's one thing that I do is I spray a lot of salt sprays around myself. Oh, we got Lindsay from Oregon. Hi, welcome. We're glad you're here. We're just talking about random stuff at this point. I think we'll get focused here in a minute. But yeah, I do a lot of salt sprays for clearing, and then also to smell good. But I have to remember that coming into the summer months and spring and summer months, that there's a lot of pollinators out here, and so they smell my natural salt sprays and they're attracted to them. So peppermint oil is something that I'm going to be switching out for soon, because it not only is it cools the skin, but it keeps the bugs away, and it's a great way to repel insects as opposed to killing them, because I'm not a big one for killing. I don't want to deal with the karmic, you know anything karmic coming with unnecessarily taking out anybody that doesn't need to be taken out. That's actually what the lady started crying about, because I was talking about insects and my bug spray, and or my peppermint spray, and how that I hope that somebody out there is looking out for me, seeing that that these I don't need to harm things unnecessarily, and so they're looking at me going, okay, well, let's look out for her, because she's that kind of thing. Is that I hope someone is up there looking out for me and sending good vibes, because I'm doing the same thing for someone smaller than me, if that makes any sense. So anyway, but yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up my experience. If I remember anything else that I talked about with Rick, then I'll bring that up. But I know you had a couple of things that you wanted to talk about, and kind of ties into my situation with my loved one who is possibly struggling with addiction issues. And not that what you want to talk about has to do with addiction directly, but it does come from a similar area. So I'll let you take the floor on that one.
It does. It comes from the big book. This is my big book. I've had this big book since the beginning. It's a textbook. It's not a novel. First of all, it's a textbook, not a novel.
I know. I've got one that's got butterflies all over it, and it's got my original date on it. I'll have to show it one day too. But definitely was a great springboard for me, for launching my spiritual path. As far as addiction goes, when I had my walk in, walk out experience, my my physical vessel is no longer dealing with the addiction, the physical addiction part of it. I don't have the same tendencies that I did before my near-death experience as I do. Now I can drink if I want to. I just choose not to because it lowers my vibration. And I just really don't like the way that it feels. But a lot, the carpenter bee's back.
Hi, buddy.
I know. It's like, I want to get in on, oh, there's two of them. He wants to get in on it. Anyway, but so since my walk in and walk out and my near-death experience, a lot energetically has changed with me personally, but it doesn't mean that my experience with the big book has changed. So it definitely helped me. And I do hark back to a lot of the things in the big book, as far as the inventory taking and the St. Francis prayer and a lot of that stuff. So I'm really interested to hear about what it is that you've been working on with it.
Yeah, well, I got this idea originally downloaded. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it cut out for a second, but I think it's okay.
I originally got this download back in 2020, and I've kind of been shy and scared. I haven't had enough confidence to bring it out, but I've been working on it, and I believe it will help a lot of people, because the 12 steps were intended to help people get off of alcohol and drugs, and NA, they took their version of the 12 steps. So what I did, made a version of the 12 steps that anybody can work anytime to get a spiritual awakening. And so right now it's called the 12 steps to ascension, ascend to freedom. And I'm not sure if I want to change that, but I really don't know what to call it. It's really for humanity. It's me to present to humanity to help. And so I'm just going to read the steps as they were given to me to share. And first of all, when you're going through the steps, they teach you that sanity equals the ability to see the truth. So don't overthink things. Will, like my will, is my thinking mind. Think it. And life is simply the actions I take. Okay. So when I talk about my will in my life, it's my thinking mind and the actions that I take. Don't overthink it. Okay. So, first of all, step one, I'm powerless over people, places, things, institutions, scenarios, outcomes, opinions, and expectations. Did I leave anything out?
No.
Those are the only things you're literally powerless over. You can't control people. You can't control things. You can't control institutions, banks, your school. You can't control that shit. You can't control scenarios that come up in your mind all the time. You can't control outcomes. It's not my business, You cannot control other people's opinions of you or even how they see you. And you do have some power over your own expectations, but not other people's expectations. Do you understand? So I'm powerless over people, places, things, institutions, scenarios, outcomes, opinions, and expectations. All right. Now, step two is simply I become aware that there's a power that's bigger than I am working behind the scenes. And how I was taught that was, if the sun comes up in the morning, do I make the sun come up? No, I don't make the sun come up. I can believe that power, whatever power brings that sun up every single day, I just need to know that exists. That's it. Step three, made a conscious decision to turn my will, which is my thinking mind, and my life, which is the actions I take, over to that power and let go of everything I think I know. Step four, I analyze myself on paper, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful, and I choose to set goals according to my inner guidance. Step five, I'm shaking.
Keep going. I'm holding you up. You got it. It sounds good so far. The only thing that for me personally, and why I have an issue not with your program, but for me personally, why I don't go to Al-Anon, why I don't go to AA is because, well, first of all, I don't have the addiction issues or the alcoholic issues anymore. I do have the people issues,
Exactly.
but I have the issue with the I am, with stating I am and then saying powerless afterwards. For me, I can't do that anymore, because then that's me giving my power away consciously.
You're already past this. You're
Yeah.
past this.
Yeah,
This is
but this is
ignorance,
the
right?
wake part. Yeah.
This
So
is right.
for me, maybe we could revise a different version.
This is for
Yeah.
newbies. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is for
No,
newbies. This is
but
for
I guess it's just take what resonates and leave the rest. And for me, I would just say, that I was instead of I am, if that makes sense.
because you've already, like I said, you're past it. This is for new people. This is for people coming up into their awakening, or people maybe who have never experienced a spiritual awakening before. You know what I mean? Like, so this is it, and you're right. So maybe that's something that we can look at later and rework stuff.
Yeah, and that just might be me personally. You know what I mean? That just might be my experience.
Well,
But
that's part of it. But anyways, sorry, I was a little overwhelmed with emotions because of fear, but I'm gonna keep going.
what is it? They say that something about courage isn't not being afraid. It's walking through the fear. Something to that effect. So
Yeah,
it's okay to feel the fear. Just walk through it. Have that confidence. You can definitely do this.
that came out. All right, so step 5, right? Become accountable and share my truth to God and another human being that I trust. It can be anybody. It could be clergy. It could be your priest. It could be your sponsor. It could be me. If you want to work it with me, I have a program that I'm trying to set up, or a reprogram that I'm trying to set up to help people. Anyways, so step 6 is I become ready to have my team, which is your spiritual team, remove any attachments from my body and energy fields that no longer serve me. Step 7 is humbly ask God and my angelic team to remove all that no longer serves me. Step 8, made a list of anyone I harmed while under deep programming and conditioning, and I choose to make it right. Step 9, take step 8's list and apologize unless doing so would harm them. Step 10, I continue to pay attention to my behavior, living as authentically as possible, and promptly fix it when I make mistakes. Step 11, by prayer and meditation, I continue to improve my consciousness and strengthen my connection to my team and intuition. Step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of all my hard work, I try to help others and practice these 12 principles in all of my life, which is the actions I take. Remember that, don't overthink it. And the 12 principles are honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity, willingness, humility, love, forgiveness, discipline, awareness, and service. That's it.
You did so good. That's awesome. I
How
love
was
to
me
hear
doing?
that. No, you did really good. I mean, it's good that we have the basis to the springboard. You know what I mean? Like we have a guide that I've worked the 12 steps multiple times in my past. Before my near death experience and then after. So I've gotten, I've gotten it multiple times. And then I live that. I live those principles. And so healing becomes easier because I've done it before. And so, but now I need more, if that makes any sense. And that was my feeling the last time that I was in the rooms, was that this is great, but this is very circular for me, and it might be helpful to other people, and it definitely is. But for me personally, I need more spirituality, more ascension, more in the line of where I'm going on my path. So that kind of brings in a lot of the same kind of principles and things as far as ascension and stuff. And I know that you go into greater detail. That's just kind of the outline. And the only thing that
Yeah,
the only
that's not an
thing I
actual program.
remember from going to the meetings is just that in the ninth step, also to remember that if it harms me. So there are certain people that if I went and I knocked on their door to apologize to them, they would call the police on me. They could physically become violent. And so that's something that I need to remember, is that if it also harms me in a way, or even, puts me back into a state where I'm less than, or I'm a doormat, that those things I have to remember too, because I'm important. So I have to remember that. So that's just one thing that I would add to that. But I'm sure that you go into greater detail with that when you're.
Yeah, when I work with you, that's the thing, is I have it set up so that I can work with people on an individual basis. It's completely confidential, and but it
Well,
has to be.
the thing too for me is that I know, a lot of people, they have a certain person that they want to share, like in the fifth step, and then also with the other parts of it, that you work with someone. For me, I work with my spirit guides, and so I've, I like to be accountable to the people that are in my life, but I am personally at the point where, I do a lot of my work kind of behind the scenes. So like my rituals and the clearings and all of those things. And so I'll touch base with people to keep myself accountable, but I also let spirit guide me. So I don't look at someone as a sponsor, as that they are my guide. It's just kind of a friend that assists me and kind of a springboard to bounce things back and forth, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
I used to look at a sponsor as somebody that had all the answers and knew it all and had it all figured out. And when I first came into the rooms and stuff, I didn't know very much. I was like 20 something when I got sober. So it, you know, I have to look at it like my sponsor is not my God. But that was how I viewed it. And then I have a sponsor relapse, or a sponsor that was not doing what they were supposed to be doing. And then my whole world fell apart. I didn't know what to do with myself, because, I'm looking at them like they're holier than thou. And it's like, no, we have to remember that the people that we're working with, they have the same issues that we do. They're just trying to do the same thing, um, that we are. And so nobody's perfect. And also, I want to bring this up for a lot of people who have gone through addiction issues and alcoholism, that relapse is not something to be ashamed of. I have gone back and forth and back and forth, and I have shamed myself. I did not want to get help at times, because I was afraid of what people would think of me. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. Sometimes we learn more by doing things that are bad for us than we do by not doing them, if that
Well,
makes
my
sense.
sponsor told me that's what we do normally. That's normal behavior.
Go in and out of 5D to 3D to, up and down, up and down. And so I think that's a natural response. Now, for some people, they're capable of staying, staying where they need to stay. But for me personally, my path goes up and down. And so I have to remove that shame. I have to find that forgiveness for myself. Um, and then realize I had a hard time, because I didn't understand what the whole walk in, walk out um, experience meant, and why I'm different than I used to be. And so I felt a lot of shame, because I started going to Al-Anon, and I would see all my old friends from AA, and they would like question why I wasn't coming to the AA meetings. And it's like, how do I explain that to someone who they believe that once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, once an addict, always an addict. But through the spiritual experiences, we get healed. And so that's not something that you can explain to somebody who's not experienced it. If
And
that
that's because I've been sober. I've been off of meth for 23 years. And I only went to meetings for like 5 or 6 years. And then I stopped going to meetings. And everyone's like, oh, you got to go to, no. Everyone has their own path. So this is where it gets tricky. After you've had your spiritual awakening, it gets you in tune with your inner guidance. And see, this is the part that AA leaves out, because a lot of times they don't go into the spiritual part and what happens after that. So, this is kind of what happens after that.
Well,
I
think there's a good reason for that. And I think that's because everybody's path is individual, and you can't really describe what to do after your spiritual experience, because every single person has a different path. And once you have found that path, like you take these steps and then you're at a jumping off point, and everybody, it's just, imagine 12 steps, literal 12 steps. You're walking up and then you get wings at the top. Is everybody going to fly in the same direction? No, we're in the air. We can fly anywhere we want. And sometimes we bump our head and we fall back down to the ground and we got to walk up those steps again. But we walk up faster the next time because we've done it before. And then we know what's at the end. We know we get to fly at the end. And so it gives us that inspiration. And so
Well,
that
also
shame
do
holds
the
us down.
steps. See, that's why it's important to do the steps too, because 10, 11, and 12 are maintenance steps, and 10, 11, and 12 cover 1 through 9. So 10, 11, and 12 are what you do every single day after you've done the program, after you've worked the steps, and practicing those principles in all my affairs, including the traditions, which no one really goes into, you know, which is like being fully self-supporting through my own contributions. And that's important to my life too. So, I mean, I also took the steps and the traditions. And so I don't know how many people still do that. I honestly am not worried about that part anyway. But the truth is that some people are meant to stay in the program forever and help people in the program.
Yeah.
And other people are meant to like leave the program and go help people elsewhere and go learn your own path, you know, and we're the ones.
And that's where I am. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate and I'm grateful for everything that I learned. But
Yeah.
going back to the meetings, you know, I'll go in there every so often, but it also brings me back to the state of being where I was before. And so it's very cyclical for me, where it puts me back into a lower vibration and a lower cycle. You know, thinking about and triggering a lot of those past things that I've already dealt with and healed. And so I don't need to keep talking about the things that I've healed, if that makes any sense. So for me personally, it's just, you know, that's just my path. A lot of people, they have to go through it until they've healed it, and then they'll figure something else out. And a lot of people, they don't, they keep going through it over and over and over, but that's their path and that's their choice, depending on whatever they signed up for in their soul contract.
I just haven't found it necessary to relapse myself, so I've just never had to. Because I was done, man. When I was done with meth, I was fucking done. You know, I didn't want to go back to it, and
that's not an easy thing to just walk away from. I mean, unless you change completely all the people that are around you, change your spiritual, you know, everything, you have to change a lot of things. And a lot of times, like for instance, me and my significant other, you know, we definitely did things together. You know, so it's hard because, you know, we can trigger each other or we can support each other. This morning we were actually having a conversation, saying how proud we are of one another, and saying that we want to do things a little bit differently and we want to support each other, and that we need to have this constant, honesty. You know, we have to be rigorously honest, like it says, in all of our affairs. We have to, with one another, we need to be rigorously honest, because we can trigger one another, whether it's just triggering my worry. You know, that to me can lower my vibration, getting into worry and fear of addiction, and not me, but in my partner. And so it's difficult, to navigate. So it is good to have something to where you can go and then work that, process in every situation. So
Yeah, because when you're done with that, you can choose what to have in your life. You know, like in 2012, I got sober at 22 and I never been to bars or anything. And I was really kind of scared. I really was. I was like, I hadn't touched a drink or a drug or anything that entire time. And I found out that I didn't even like it. I didn't even like it. I had, you know, when I drink, I don't like the way it makes me feel. I get flushed. It makes me turn red. I turn beet red. I get hot. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't have control over my motor skills very well. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. So then I didn't have anything to worry about the whole time. Like, you know, and then I started marijuana and I found out that marijuana was more a medicine. And so for me, it's a medicine and I don't use it for.
That's your intention. You're not using it to get, you know, to get inebriated. You're using it
I
to
have
heal
borderline
yourself.
personality disorder. It's very difficult to manage. Anyone that has borderline personality disorder, I would like to let you know that you can overcome it. It is tricky, and you do have to be flexible, and you really need to be in a position where in an environment that's very accepting of who you are, where you don't have to dim your light. You need to be in a place where you can be authentic. You need to be in a place where people accept you and validate who you are. They have to understand who you are and that you do have a mental illness, and not disvalue your mental illness and laugh because you have a mental illness, and unfortunately that's what I have to deal with. I'm like, I have borderline right whatever. Dude, I fucking got that,
I'm shining some light for you right now. I
I'm
know
serious.
that got heavy.
And I'm like, I set a few boundaries, but it's like, why am I set boundaries, but they're just ignored. So it's whatever. I let the universe do whatever it needs to happen. And I'm going to say my beautiful, authentic self and not fight and just accept things as they are and allow that person to be who they need to be, because I honor that person, because I have learned so much. I have learned so much from him, and I honor him so much. He's walked this path of living with me for 11 years, so regardless of whether it works out or not, I honor him because I've learned so much, and I hope that he understands that regardless of how it ends, I don't need to be the villain. He doesn't need to be the villain. We can just move on and appreciate each other for the path that we have. And even though we're going on different paths, because it's very apparent that we're different now, it's like just to be accepting of that and love each other and honor each other and not make the other person a bad guy. I don't get that. I don't want to do that. He's done so much good. I've done so much good, and we're both participating. There's no good or bad guy here. We're both participants, I don't know who needs to hear that, but we're walking through this one day at a time, just like the program says, just like the reprogram, I say.
Yeah, it is a brain reprogramming.
Yeah, confidence, and trusting yourself.
When you stop going to the meetings, you kind of have to break away from a lot of that programming too, because a lot of it is good, and a lot of it can kind of get you stuck in that cycle too. If just for me, I mean, I don't know about anybody else. Just me personally, as far as growing beyond that, I have to kind of let that lingo go, if that makes any sense. And a lot of that programming, because as I'm learning, I'm unlearning. Sorry, my dress is flying up as I'm sitting here. I don't know if you can see it. I hope
Let's see it. Show me some
no.
light.
Okay. Anyway, but it is, we do need to learn and unlearn and then learn and unlearn. So we're constantly in this learning and unlearning process, because we're picking up stuff that resonates and then picking up stuff that doesn't resonate, and we have to let the stuff that doesn't resonate go. That's the thing to remember on this journey, is that not every single person's path is yours. And just because somebody's had a similar story and they have a similar path and you can relate and you can identify, it does not mean that they are you. We are individuals, and we have different versions of ourselves out there. Okay, and on a larger scale, yeah, they are you. We are one, but I'm not referencing that at this moment. What I'm saying is that we all have our individual paths. We are all unique in our own ways, and that was one thing that did not resonate with me when they would say, "You're not unique." Well, yes, I am. I am extremely unique, and I'm here for a purpose, and I'm not going to be put in a box and told that you're just like everyone else. No, maybe other people are just like everyone else. I'm individual. I am my own individual person, and I'm going to shine my light in its own way. I'm my own color.
Honestly, I got download right now. It just came to me that maybe that's why a lot of people leave the program and go use and drink again, because they feel like that doesn't resonate with them, and so they get kind of stuck, and they get stuck in this, oh God, I'm not like them either, and then they feel pretty hopeless, and then they go back out, and I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
There definitely needs to be an outlet and a resource that goes beyond what to do now. And I know they have literature, and they have explanations of what to do beyond the spiritual awakening, and they have other books and things like that that are in the program that are meant to help, but it still cycles around the thing that we've healed. Once we've healed that source, we need to move on onto the next thing. And so for me, it's no longer talking about alcohol, no longer talking about addiction. It's now talking about my issue with my relationships. It's talking about how I view the world, talking about how I interact with the world. And so those are the things that I need to work on. And I don't want to continue to go in the cycle of, something that happened 20 years ago. You know what I mean? I don't need to stay 20 years ago. I've risen on that spiral, and I'm not on a hamster wheel. Does that make any sense?
But then like me, I am being called to like share my story. So then I'm always like, well, this is how it was in the past and this is how it is now. And that's because that's my voice. That's what I'm being called to do. So it's very different,
Yeah,
but we're all like very similar but different, but what your path is, and mine has always been more like a speaker, because even in AA I would stand at the podium and talk for an hour about what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now, and that is.
And I could do that too, and I would have people coming up to me like that I didn't recognize, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we heard your story," because I could fill a room, and people can resonate with the passion behind what my story. They resonate with not the words, but the emotions and the resonance. And so I can do the same thing, but I don't have to go into detail about things that are triggering for me. If that well, they're not triggering anymore. I don't know how to explain that. They're no longer, I don't know. I mean, I can talk about my story and it doesn't trigger me anymore.
That's because it's integrated. See, once you
Yeah.
deal with your shit, it's integrated and you can use it for good. Like you can pull out a bit from here and a bit from here and use it to help somebody now.
Yeah, 'cause I can talk about my trauma and it doesn't bring up emotions. I'm just, I think it puzzles people because I will talk about things that are dark and scary and I have no emotion, no connection. It's not that I don't remember it or that I haven't felt. It's that there's no longer a trigger there. There's no longer pain there. I can look at things with gratitude and love. I can look at my abusers and say thank you. I can look at the people who hurt me and say I love you, because
I honor you
from a different place. Yeah, because I can honor them, and I'm grateful for the lessons. I'm grateful for the strength. I'm grateful for who I am, and I couldn't be who I am had I not gone through those experiences. And I know on a soul level that I signed up for those experiences so that I could become who I needed to be. And so there's gratitude in that. And then, I don't even need forgiveness because I realized that we agreed to this before we even came here. And so the people that I thought were abusing me were actually loving me.
It was me doing it.
Helped me. Yes, we agreed to this. You might have said, I don't want to be the bad guy. And I said, I need you to be the bad guy because you're the only one that I will be able to turn around and say, I love you. Thank you. If that makes any sense. And that for me, I'm getting tears on that. I got glasses on so you can't see them. But that I'm just, wow.
That's okay. Let it out because it's true. And you heal, and when right now you're healing, and not only you're healing yourself, you're healing the people that are listening or anyone that needs to hear it right now.
Yeah,
People that are
to look at the people that I thought were that I had this hatred or this anger or this pain that they caused me. I can look at them and say thank you.
exactly.
That's amazing. I wish that for everybody, that they could come to a place of recognizing that pain made them who they are, that their strength and their endurance and their drive, who they are, is because we chose to go through these things. We signed up for this. I'm not saying that that I'm not excusing people's behavior in what I'm saying. This is not an excuse for anybody's behavior, but on a deeper level, there is no real behavior. It's agreed upon. And so we sign up for these things so that we can become what it is that we want to be. I can't read because my phone's too dark, so if you'll read that.
Oh yeah, we're not sorry, we're not this body. This body is an avatar. Our soul is eternal. Our body is just our avatar, right? We are energy. We are not this body. This body is temporary. Our spirit is eternal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely.
No, we absolutely are. I mean, I think of it like this, and I heard a psychic. I can't remember her name. She's an English psychic, really well known. I can't remember her name. She used to be an investigator. She used to be a police investigator. If anybody's heard of her, but I can't remember the name. Anyway, she describes like heaven as being in this place of total bliss, and then you want to experience different emotions because you're just in bliss all the time, and so you come down and you want to feel these feelings so that you can experience and you can learn what empathy is, so you can learn how to be compassionate, because if we're in a state of bliss all of the time, then we don't know how to appreciate somebody that's been through trauma. We don't know how to help other people that have been through these things. We're just, we're oblivious to it. You need the darkness to appreciate the light, if that makes any sense, and then appreciate the darkness. So we come down here, we choose that so that we can experience it. And so that, yeah, I like the way she explains it.
I'm on camera. Sorry.
I don't know if I
had
explained
something
that well, but yeah, I like the way that really resonates with me, how she explains it. We're kind of like, I like to think of it as that we're up in the stars and we're just kind of shining down and looking down, and we're just in this state of just pure bliss. Like when I look at the sun, I just see bliss. I just see happiness.
Yeah.
And that's just, I literally look at the sun. I'm looking at it now, and I see a being. I see an energy there. Not a physical person, but there's an energy there that I can feel, and I can vibrate with. I can communicate with, and it does give me joy. When the sun comes out, does that not give you joy? I mean, it might be hot. I know I say joy a lot, but that's who I'm talking to. Um,
I'm
but
always
it
I gotta
does.
tell you a story. I'll tell you a story that this is what happened. All right. So like I was 17 and I got on a Greyhound bus and I went to South Dakota because my parents sent me away because I was so hard to handle. I was such a bad kid, horrible. So they sent me to South Dakota to live with my sister, who I love, but I don't talk to. Anyways, at the time, she had me there basically to be her maid and her daycare person. And I just wasn't having it, But, anyways, while I was there, she was with her husband way back in the day. This is way back. I was 17, obviously, so it was a long time ago. I don't even want to go into how long ago that was, to be honest with you.
Age is just a number. We're not in time anymore.
But my brother-in-law, and I don't even know if my brother-in-law knows this. His name is Donnie, and I love him so much. But I experienced with him, he was a pastor, or what they called a pastor. Anyways, he had energy, and I don't know what he said, but I was really upset and I was crying and I was hurting, and he said something along the lines of I feel you with the joy of the spirit. And it hit me so fucking hard. I started laughing and I couldn't stop laughing, and I was laughing and laughing and laughing, and I laughed for like a half an hour, and then I finally stopped laughing. But when I stopped, it never left me. It never left me. And so when I came back from South Dakota back to California, I was kind of a different person. I had this positive view, and I needed that, and I understand it because the shit that I went through after that fucked up. I'm gonna be honest. Excuse my language if you don't like the F word. I throw it around like nothing because it literally has zero intentions. But anyways, I literally
I know that word could mean anything. Sorry.
joy in me that never left. So when I was like sticking needles in my arm and I was like living on the streets, I was living in hotels and I was struggling to survive. I was walking the streets, and so I had this had this positivity about me, like, you guys, it's gonna be all right. Like, I was the only one in the group that would be like, guys, smile, it's all good, we'd be all fucked up on drugs, like Like we got nothing in this hotel room, but I'm just like happy. I'm just like, hey guys, what's going on? And I was with some pretty interesting individuals that were like prison gangs, and they brought the prison gangs out. So I was running with these people, just running amok, and thinking I was a tough guy, and I was just. I'm so not that person. I am so not a tough person. I'm a really nice I'm a really nice person. I don't have the ability to be mean. Like I barely have the enough what is it? I don't even know. Like I barely stick up for myself. I don't know what I just people pleasing, I guess.
Yeah.
I did a lot of people pleasing. A
I did
lot.
too. I did
And I
too.
cared way too much what people thought of me too. I cared way too fucking much
I
about
did
what people.
too. For a long time, but then when I started waking up, I found my voice, but I didn't know how to use it yet. And so I started speaking up, but in a very not so nice way. So I really had to learn, how to communicate.
Remember
Because I went from no communication to having a voice and wanting to be heard all the time. And I caused a lot of issues. So yeah, finding your voice, but then also, being able to use it
it's
appropriately.
not a bad thing. You're actually you doing that
I was
was
clearing a lot of the stuff that I needed to clear probably.
you're supposed to do that, just like I was in counseling, and I was talking about sticking up for myself. And this is what my inner guidance told me about sticking up for myself. It doesn't matter how you stick up for yourself, because it's in an extreme case, it's whatever it's their projection that you're reacting to, right? So look, um it's on them. It's their karma for fucking with you, if that makes sense. And if they didn't, they had it coming. I don't know how to tell you.
Yeah, well, a lot of the times, like, where
Not
I
a people,
worked a doormat for so long, I had to get loud. I had to get loud, and I had to say, "No more. No
like,
more." You know?
yeah,
But then once that was done, you kinda have to come into this place of, like, "Okay, now that I've stated how I feel, I don't like staying in that angry person feeling." You know what I mean? It doesn't even have anything to do with them. It's how I feel when I'm angry. And so, yeah, it was definitely releasing and clearing a lot of that pent up rage, because we do, when we suppress ourselves, we get angry, and we either have rageful moments, or we get depression, or we have mental illnesses because we're suppressing our emotions. So when you are actively expressing your emotions, it's healthier. But my husband, he doesn't understand emotions. He just sees everything as anger. So I have to verbalize what my emotion is so that he understands, because he doesn't he just sees everything as I'm angry. No, sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm irritated, sometimes you're annoying, and I have to clear that up. Like, what you're doing right now is a little bit annoying. I love you, but if you could stop that, that would be great.
please.
Um, so, I have to be very articulate when it comes to stating my boundaries. And that's something that I've learned over time, is how to be assertive, um, and say what I need, instead of just expecting people to know what it is that I need. Because that's what
Now,
I did a lot of times, is I either ignored my own intuition, I ignored taking care of myself, but then I expected everybody else around me to take care of me, while I wasn't doing that for myself. Because I was doing it for everyone else, I expected them to reciprocate, and take care of me. That's not how it works. We need to take care of ourselves. Other people need to take care of themselves. And then if we want to help one another, that's
exactly.
okay, as long as it's reciprocal. And so when I'm working out with my daughter right now, is I will ask her to assist me when it comes to small chores around the house, and she'll always say, You're making me the maid. Why do I have to be the maid?" And I said, "If you live here, you have to be an active participant. This is part of what dad does, it's part of what I do, it's part of what you do. And now that you're old enough and you're at the age, you're not the maid, I'm not the maid, dad's not the maid. We clean up after ourselves." And so that's something that, I'm learning how to say, to state my own needs, so that I'm no longer being taken advantage of, because I was doing everything for everybody that they're capable of doing. And now I'm not afraid to say, if my husband comes in and says I'm hungry, I'll say, there's sandwich meat in there. Make yourself a sandwich if you're that hungry. You know what I mean? If you cannot wait till dinner, then go
That's
by all means. You know how to make eggs, you know how to make toast, feed yourself. I'm not your mom, you know? I
I
have a
agree.
child that I take care of. And if it's not my, time to make dinner for everybody, which I do because that's something I enjoy doing. It brings me joy to eat, to cook, to feed, my family. That it brings me joy. Joy, joy, joy down in my heart. Anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying this. No makeup, live on YouTube. But it was too hot outside, so I had to come in and get a little breather. I do have quite a bit of sun on my cheeks, so I did
Hi.
take a little break. I know. I did need to take a little break. I know I'm getting a little red on my arms. So it is a
Real
beautiful
quick,
sunny day outside.
I
What?
want to do boundaries real fast because
Okay.
Feel Good, if y'all follow Feel Good, I do and actually he's been leveling up a lot too. um but he got this download on boundaries and it really resonated with me, and I listened to it, and he was talking about at first you state your boundaries and you let people know. It's called setting the expectation. You set the expectation so other people know what to expect with you. It's part of communication, you know. And what Phil was talking about is at first, yeah, you set those boundaries, you let people know, this is yes, no, whatever. Over time, though, you don't need to anymore. You just shine your light and be as authentic as possible. And I can't remember the point he made, so I'll share it in the comments after the video is completed because I still have to do the thumbnail because we did this
Yeah,
live on.
this is like unexpected. We were gonna just record a podcast and then we were like, forget it. Let's just go live. And so we didn't announce it. We didn't tell anybody that's here. I think we have more viewers today
Yeah,
than we
and
do when we
ever,
do
yeah.
announce it. So maybe it's better to do it this way. I don't know. But I'm definitely grateful. So I think we're almost at our stopping point.
I want to
I know my daughter's bus is gonna be late today, but the alarm's gonna go off in 3 minutes. So um
Let's wrap it up. I did want to show the cards I got. So we're working our confidence right now. Spirit says that you're going to be getting things to lighten your load, you guys. Lighten your load, whatever it is, delegate those duties, just like we were just talking about with your boundaries and dishes. I've been bringing in my kids too to do dishes and help them so they can, and really for them, it's learning how, and that's awesome. Also, we got freedom, you guys. So some of us are feeling trapped. And what Spirit is saying is to get out into nature and, to ground. They're saying ground. Oh, and drink extra water. Even if you drink a lot of water, drink more because we have a KP index of 7 right now. So
do it. I know.
and
I can feel it. I can feel it. It's only 80 out there, but it feels like hot. I
hotter
mean,
because the KP
and
index.
my crystal is still pretty warm from sitting out there.
So we're doing this more. And also, somebody needed to hear this. I know that we're getting, if you're on my timeline or my path, or my frequency, whatever you want to call it, we're getting, we're going to get some help here. We're definitely going to get some help with our career. Spirit says to put yourself out there.
Oh, you
And
just said that, and I just saw somebody bought my extra large rose quartz. I just got a ping from my store. They are the store that I sell my stuff at. It just pinged me and said extra large rose quartz just sold. So that's awesome.
excited for you. And
Yeah,
see, like our career is
I
getting
know.
ready to take off.
And
So
that's something that I do with the things that I sell is I put my intentions and my light in them. So everyone that yeah, we if you go back, Jay, if you look back on some of our episodes, I'm not sure which one it was. You can probably look through the description. We did talk about our near death experiences. But yeah, that I'm so grateful for my the work that I do because I'm sending out my light with every crystal that I sell. I'm sending out my vibration and my love energy, and so that's touching people whether they're aware of it or not. When they use my salt sprays or they use my essential oils, there's so much love and intention behind all of those that they don't even know how much they're getting lifted. Like that woman in the store today just burst into tears there's a healing that comes with the work that I do, and so my intention is to touch and heal anybody who does come in contact with, even just walking into the store, just feeling the frequency of my items. Um, so that has been, I've been led by spirit to wind up in the store. Last week I didn't have my stuff in there, and this week I've been working like crazy getting all my inventory in there. I didn't have this inventory 2 weeks ago. I made all this stuff from the earth, you know what I mean? And coconut oil. I just mixed herbs and coconut oil, and I made like 20 different products. And I went crystal mining a couple weeks ago and sold some crystals, that I've touched. And so this has been spirit led. I did not have the intention to do any of this stuff. I've had people contact me saying, "Oh, do you sell this stuff online?" Right now, I just want to stay, where I can touch people. But I have sent out a few things and stuff. Anyway, I don't want to plug for myself right now. I just want to speak in gratitude. And our careers are definitely ready to pop. We're ready to bring in the abundance that we've been lacking. You and I both have been in a state of lack for quite a long time, because of circumstances that were outside of our control. And so now we're starting to see a small trickle in of resources. And so, I'm sending good vibes to you too. Hopefully um, you know, we can bring some stuff in on your way as well.
It's going to happen. I'm going to get some stuff together. I'm going to, I just needed a little bit of money to get some supplies going, but I'm working on that. So that's something I'm working on for my intention jars, as well as doing readings. So I
Mhm.
do readings and all of that for people. So
Yeah.
I'm always,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll end it there. So if anyone's interested, you can get in touch with us in the description as
Mhm.
is over. Give it about a half hour because it takes a while for the stream to finish so that I can change it. So it takes a little bit of time, but I would say by the end of the day, you can come back to my channel. It'll be fixed.
Okay.
And I have that link down there for the NDE episode as well. I'll just make sure to highlight it down below for you guys. So
All
that's
right.
definitely
All
all
right.
right.
Well, bye everyone. Thanks, Joy. Love you.
I love you too. I'll see you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.